You already know something is off about that title. Some part of you, the part that has been through enough of this to develop a finely tuned radar for promises that sound too clean, already felt it. The word foolproof, the word any, the word forever. 3 words that have absolutely no business being in the same sentence as avoidant attachment. And yet here we are, because that combination of words represents something real. The desperate, exhausting hope that there is a formula, a sequence, a right set of moves that finally cracks the code on someone who keeps slipping through your hands. There is not a formula, but there is a truth, and the truth is significantly more useful than a formula, even if it is considerably less comfortable. Here is what every get an avoidant to commit conversation gets fundamentally wrong. It positions commitment as something you extract from someone, rather than something 2 people arrive at together. It frames the avoidant as a puzzle to be solved, rather than a person making choices. And most dangerously, it centers the entire question on what you can do, what strategy, what behavior, what version of yourself you can deploy, rather than asking the more important question underneath all of it. Does this person actually want to commit to you? Not can they be maneuvered into it, not can their attachment system be hacked through the right combination of distance and warmth. Do they, as a conscious adult with agency, want to build something real and lasting with you specifically? Because commitment that requires a strategy to produce is not commitment. It is compliance under favourable conditions, and favourable conditions change. Avoidants do commit. This is the part that gives people hope, and it is legitimate hope because it is true. Avoidantly attached people enter relationships, stay in them, build lives inside them. The attachment style is not a life sentence of emotional unavailability. It is a pattern, and patterns, with genuine self-awareness and actual work, change. But here is what is true about every avoidant who has ever committed in a real, sustainable, chosen way. They did not commit because someone found the right angle. They did not commit because their partner executed a perfect balance of availability and mystery. They did not commit because they were handled skillfully enough that their defense system never got triggered. They committed because something shifted internally, because at some point, the pain of their own avoidance became more uncomfortable than the fear of intimacy, because they developed enough self-awareness to recognize that their withdrawal was not protecting them, it was impoverishing them, because they made a decision from the inside that the life their attachment patterns were building was not the life they actually wanted. That shift is internal. It is entirely theirs. And no external strategy, however sophisticated, can manufacture it. What you can do, and this is where it gets genuinely useful, is create the conditions that make that internal shift more likely. Not guarantee it, not force it, make it more likely. The first condition is being someone with a life that does not orbit theirs. Not performed independence, actual independence. Interests, friendships, direction, a sense of self that is vivid and full and does not dim in their absence. This is not a tactic to make them chase you. It is the foundation of a relationship that an avoidant can enter without feeling like they are consuming someone. Avoidants are deeply afraid of being responsible for another person's happiness. A person who is already happy, genuinely, not performatively, removes that particular fear from the equation. The second condition is consistency without pursuit, showing up as the same person regardless of whether they are warm or distant, present or retreating. Not matching their withdrawal with panic. Not matching their warmth with overwhelming reciprocation. Just being steady, being the same. An avoidant who has never experienced relational steadiness, who has only ever known that closeness leads to engulfment or abandonment, needs to see, over time, that you are neither. That evidence accumulates slowly. It cannot be rushed. The third condition, and this one is the hardest, is honesty that does not punish. Being direct about what you need without weaponizing their inability to provide it. Saying what is true without making their fear the enemy. This is not the same as softening your needs into nothing. It is delivering your truth without making them feel like a defendant. But underneath all three of those conditions is the thing that actually determines everything: your own clarity about what you will and will not accept. Because the people who successfully build real relationships with avoidance, who are capable of growth, are not people who found the right strategy. They are people who were genuinely, non-negotiably clear about their own worth, who did not treat commitment as a prize to be won, but as a baseline requirement for their own continued presence, who communicated, through their actions more than their words, that they were not available indefinitely for a relationship that existed only on the avoidance terms. That clarity is not a manipulation tactic. It is self-respect made visible. And self-respect, consistently demonstrated, is the single most destabilizing thing you can introduce into an avoidance comfort zone, because it removes the option of indefinite ambiguity. It says, quietly and without drama, that you are a person with limits, and those limits are real. So the foolproof way to get an avoidant to commit forever, there is not one. What there is this. Become so genuinely grounded in your own worth, so clear about what you require, so full in your own life, that the question slowly stops being, how do I make them commit, and becomes something cleaner and considerably more powerful. Are they choosing me, consistently, clearly, without me having to disappear to remind them of my value? And if the answer to that question is yes, you do not have a commitment problem. And if the answer is no, no formula was ever going to fix that. The only foolproof move was always the same one. Knowing your worth clearly enough that someone else's inability to see it stops being the thing that defines your next move.